First contact. The day Earth changed forever began like any other. Dr. Elena Castillo, lead astronomer at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, stifled a yawn as she scanned the night's data. Her eyes widened as an anomalous signal caught her attention. "This can't be right," she muttered, fingers flying across the keyboard. Across the globe, in a bustling Tokyo tech startup, Hiroshi Tanaka was debugging a new AI algorithm when his systems crashed. Frowning, he rebooted his computer, only to find every screen in the office displaying the same strange, pulsating symbol. In the skies above New York City, Air Force Captain Jake Morrison banked his F-35 sharply, responding to frantic calls from ground control. Unknown bogies, Cap, hundreds of them, appearing out of nowhere. Within hours, the world was gripped by panic. Massive, otherworldly ships hovered silently over major cities across the globe. Military forces scrambled, but their weapons seemed ineffective against the visitors' advanced technology. As governments struggled to maintain order, an unexpected message broadcast simultaneously on every communication device on the planet. "People of Earth, do not be alarmed. We come in peace and with purpose. Your world has been chosen." In Washington, D.C., President Amelia Chen stood before a hastily assembled emergency session of the United Nations. "We must present a united front," she urged, her voice steady despite the fear visible in her eyes. "Whatever their purpose, we face this together." Dr. Castillo found herself whisked from her observatory to a top-secret facility, joining a diverse team of Earth's brightest minds. Hiroshi's AI expertise had caught the attention of the Japanese government, and he too was en route to the Global Response Center. Captain Morrison, after a tense aerial standoff with the alien craft, landed to find himself reassigned to a newly formed First Contact Squadron. As the hours ticked by, the world held its breath. Social media exploded with theories, from doomsday predictions to celebrations of humanity's first extraterrestrial encounter. Religious leaders called for calm, while some saw the aliens as divine messengers. In the secret facility, Elena pored over the signal data. "It's not just random noise," she explained to the assembled scientists and leaders. "There's a pattern, almost like a puzzle." Hiroshi, working alongside Elena, nodded in agreement. "It's similar to some of the challenge algorithms we use in AI development. They're testing us." Outside, the alien ships remained motionless, their presence a constant reminder of humanity's new reality. Attempts at communication had thus far been met with silence, adding to the growing tension. As dawn broke on the second day of the alien presence, a small group of human representatives, including Elena, Hiroshi, and Jake, were chosen to approach the main ship hovering over the United Nations building in New York. Heart pounding, Elena stepped forward as the group reached the base of the massive craft. A shimmering field appeared, and a figure emerged, humanoid, but clearly not of Earth. Its skin shimmered with an iridescent quality, and its eyes, large and multifaceted, regarded them with an unreadable expression. "Greetings, Terrans," the alien spoke, its voice resonating in their minds rather than their ears. "I am Zaxel, emissary of the Galactic Confederation. Your world stands on the brink of a great journey." Jake, ever the protector, stepped forward. "What do you want from us?" he asked, hand instinctively resting on his sidearm. Zaxel's multifaceted eyes seemed to twinkle with amusement. "Want? No, Captain Morrison. The question is, what do you want? Your species has been observed for centuries, your potential noted. Now you face a choice and a challenge." Hiroshi, his scientific curiosity overriding his fear, couldn't help but ask, "What kind of challenge?" The alien gestured, and a holographic image appeared before them, showcasing a vast, star-filled expanse. The Galactic Confederation oversees countless civilizations across the cosmos. Every century, we select promising young species to participate in the Great Trial, a series of challenges designed to test a species' worthiness to join our ranks. Elena's mind raced with the implications. And if we refuse? Zaxel's expression remained impassive. Then you remain as you are, isolated, vulnerable, and ignorant of the wonders and dangers that await you in the vastness of space. But know this, refusing the trial does not mean you will be forgotten. There are less benevolent entities in the cosmos who take great interest in developing worlds. The implied threat hung heavy in the air. President Chen, who had insisted on being part of the delegation, stepped forward. And if we accept, what are the terms of this trial? The alien's form seemed to shimmer with approval. Wise to seek terms, President Chen. The trial consists of a series of challenges, testing various aspects of your species' capabilities, intelligence, adaptability, courage, and more. You will compete against other young species, all vying for recognition and the chance to take their place among the stars. Jake, ever practical, asked, "What's the catch?" "There's always a catch." Zaxel's mental voice took on a somber tone. "Perceptive, Captain. The catch, as you say, is this. Failure in the trial may result in your species being deemed unfit for further development. In such cases, measures are taken to ensure the cosmic balance is maintained." The implications were clear. Failure could mean the end of humanity as they knew it. Elena, her scientific mind already racing with possibilities, asked, "How long do we have to prepare? And who will represent Earth in these trials?" The alien gestured, and another hologram appeared, showing a diverse group of humans from all walks of life. "You have one lunar cycle to select and prepare your champions. Choose wisely, for they will carry the fate of your world with them." As the gravity of the situation settled upon them, President Chen straightened her shoulders. "We need time to discuss this with our global leadership. This decision affects all of humanity." Il nodded, a gesture surprisingly human-like. "You have 48 of your Earth hours to provide your answer. Choose wisely, Terrans. The stars await." With that, the alien shimmered and vanished, leaving the human delegation standing in the shadow of the massive ship, the weight of their species' future heavy on their shoulders. As they turned to leave, Elena caught Hiroshi's eye. "Well," she said with a nervous laugh, "I guess we're not in Kansas anymore." Jake, overhearing, cracked a smile despite the tension. "Nope, definitely not Kansas. More like to serve man territory." Hiroshi looked confused. To serve man. Old sci-fi reference, Elena explained. "Let's hope our story has a happier ending." As they made their way back to the awaiting world leaders, the enormity of their task began to sink in. Humanity stood at a crossroads, facing a challenge that would define their species for generations to come. The next 48 hours would be crucial. Earth needed to unite as never before, setting aside old rivalries and prejudices to face its galactic trial. As news of the alien ultimatum spread, the world held its collective breath, waiting to see what path humanity would choose. In homes, schools, and gathering places across the globe, people looked to the skies with a mixture of fear and wonder. The universe had come knocking, and Earth's answer would echo across the stars: the Galactic Challenge. The next 48 hours passed in a whirlwind of global conferences, heated debates, and frantic preparations. As the deadline approached, world leaders gathered once more at the United Nations, their decision weighing heavily upon them. President Chen stood at the podium, her face resolute as she addressed not just the assembly, but the entire world watching with bated breath. "After careful consideration and global consultation, we have decided to accept the Galactic Confederation's challenge. We choose to face this trial not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. The people of Earth have never shied away from a challenge, and we will not start now." As her words echoed across the planet, reactions were mixed. Some cheered the decision as a bold step towards a brighter future, while others protested, fearing the unknown consequences of failure. With Earth's participation confirmed, the real work began. A global task force was assembled to oversee the selection and preparation of Earth's champions. Dr. Elena Castillo found herself appointed as the chief scientific advisor, working alongside military strategist Captain Jake Morrison and AI expert Hiroshi Tanaka. "We need a diverse team," Elena argued during one of their planning sessions. "Not just in terms of skills, but perspectives. We don't know what challenges we'll face out there." Jake nodded in agreement. "Agreed. We need problem solvers, quick thinkers, people who can adapt on the fly." Hiroshi, who had been quiet for most of the meeting, spoke up. "We should also consider including some unconventional choices. Artists, philosophers, even children. Their unique viewpoints could be invaluable." The selection process was intense. Millions volunteered, eager for the chance to represent Earth in this cosmic competition. After weeks of tests, interviews, and deliberations, a team of 12 was chosen, a microcosm of humanity's diversity and potential. Among the selected were Maria Solar, a Spanish quantum physicist with a penchant for poetry; Kwame Osei, a Ghanaian engineer and expert in sustainable technologies; Yuki Watanabe, a teenage Japanese esports champion with unparalleled strategic thinking; Dr. Aisha Patel, an Indian neurosurgeon and meditation expert; Chen Wei, a Chinese linguist specializing in pattern recognition; Travis Hawk Hawkins, an Australian survival expert and former Special Forces operator. Elena, Jake, and Hiroshi were also selected, their unique skills and familiarity with the situation deemed crucial for the mission. As the team began their intensive training, the alien ships remained in Earth's orbit, a constant reminder of the high stakes they faced. Zax-L made periodic appearances, providing cryptic hints about the nature of the challenges they would face. "The trials will test more than your physical and mental capabilities," the alien explained during one briefing. "They will probe the very essence of what makes you human." The training regimen was grueling. Physical conditioning was paired with mental exercises designed to push the limits of human problem-solving. The team practiced in simulated alien environments, tackled abstract puzzles, and underwent crash courses in xenobiology and theoretical physics. One evening, as the team relaxed after a particularly intense day of training, Yuki approached Elena with a question. "Dr. Castillo, do you really think we have a chance? I mean, we're going up against alien civilizations. How can we possibly compete?" Elena pondered the question for a moment. "You know, Yuki, throughout human history, we've always faced challenges that seemed insurmountable at first. The Wright brothers were told that human flight was impossible. Now we're preparing to journey beyond our solar system. Our greatest strength has always been our ability to think outside the box, to find solutions where others see only problems." Jake, overhearing the conversation, chimed in. "She's right, kid. I've seen soldiers with far less training than you pull off miracles when the chips were down. We've got the best Earth has to offer on this team. If anyone can do this, it's us." As the days turned to weeks, the team grew closer, forming bonds that transcended their diverse backgrounds. They shared stories of their homes, their families, their hopes and fears for the future. United by their monumental task, they became more than just a team. They became a family. The night before their departure, a global vigil was held. Across the planet, people gathered in squares, parks, and homes, lighting candles and sending their hopes and prayers with Earth's champions. The team watched the broadcast from their training facility, the weight of their responsibility settling heavily upon them. President Chen visited them one last time, her eyes shining with unshed tears as she addressed the group. "You carry with you the hopes and dreams of all humanity. But remember, you also carry our spirit, our resilience, our creativity, our unwavering determination in the face of adversity. Go forth and show the galaxy what it means to be human." As dawn broke on the day of departure, the team made their way to the alien ship that would carry them to the galactic arena. Families and friends gathered for tearful goodbyes, the air thick with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Elena took one last look at the blue planet below as the ship's doors began to close. Earth, in all its fragile beauty, seemed so small from up here. "We'll be back," she whispered, as much to herself as to the home they were leaving behind. The ship hummed to life, its alien technology beyond anything they had experienced before. As they lifted off, breaking free from Earth's gravity, Hiroshi voiced the thought on everyone's mind. So, I guess this is where the real challenge begins. Jake, strapped into his seat beside him, grinned despite his nervousness. Nah, this is just the warm-up. The real fun starts when we... Trials of Ingenuity continued. Gravity felt slightly off, and the air carried scents they couldn't identify. A holographic guide materialized before them, its form constantly shifting between various alien species. "Greetings, Terrans," it said, its voice a melodic hum. "I am Synapsis, your guide for the duration of the Great Trial. Please, follow me to your quarters. The first challenge begins in one planetary rotation." As they walked through the bustling corridors of the Nexus, the team couldn't help but gawk at the sheer diversity of life around them. Dr. Aisha Patel, the neurosurgeon, whispered excitedly, "The implications for biology, for medicine, it's staggering." They were led to a circular chamber with 12 pods arranged in a circle. "These are your rest and preparation spaces," Synapsis explained. "They will adapt to your physiological needs. I suggest you use this time to acclimate and prepare. The trials ahead will test you in ways you cannot imagine." As the team settled in, Elena called them together. "All right, everyone. We've trained for this, but nothing could truly prepare us for all this." She gestured at the alien surroundings. "Let's review what we know and try to strategize." Quang Mosi, the engineer, spoke up. "From what Zaxel told us, the trials are designed to test various aspects of our capabilities. We should expect challenges that go beyond just physical or mental tasks." Yuki, the young esports champion, nodded enthusiastically. "Like in games, we might face puzzles, timed challenges, maybe even simulations or virtual realities." "Good thinking," Jake agreed. "We should also be prepared for the unexpected. These are alien minds creating these trials. Their logic might be completely different from ours." As they discussed possibilities, a chime sounded, and Synapsis reappeared. "The first trial begins. Please proceed to the arena of minds." The team exchanged nervous glances before following their guide. They entered a vast, dome-shaped chamber. Other alien teams were already gathering, each group as diverse as their own. At the center of the arena stood a pulsating crystalline structure. As the last of the competitors entered, a booming voice echoed through the chamber. "Welcome, seekers of galactic recognition. Your first trial is one of collective problem-solving. Before you stands the harmonic nexus. Your task is to attune it to your species' unique mental frequency. You have one temporal unit. Begin." The arena erupted into activity. Some alien teams immediately approached the crystal, while others huddled in discussion. The Earth team gathered quickly. "Okay, mental frequency, any ideas?" Elena asked, her scientific mind already racing. Hiroshi's eyes lit up. "Mental frequency, it could be referring to our brainwaves. But how do we project that onto the crystal?" Dr. Patel stepped forward. "I have an idea. In my research, I've worked on translating brainwave patterns into sound. If we could somehow sing our thoughts." A cosmic choir, Maria Solar, the quantum physicist and poet, mused. "Blending science and art, I love it." As other teams struggled with the crystal, some attempting to physically manipulate it, others seemingly trying to communicate telepathically, the Earth team formed a circle around the harmonic nexus. "Focus on what makes us human," Elena instructed. "Our hopes, our dreams, our connection to Earth and each other." They began to hum, then sing, their voices blending in an impromptu melody. Dr. Patel guided them, adjusting their tones to match different brainwave frequencies. Yuki, drawing on her gaining experience, treated it like tuning an instrument in a musical minigame. At first, nothing happened, but as they found harmony, both in voice and mind, the crystal began to glow. It pulsed in rhythm with their song, colors swirling within its depths. The other teams stopped their efforts, watching in fascination as the humans sang to the crystal. As their melody reached a crescendo, the harmonic nexus shattered into a shower of light, reforming into a perfect replica of Earth. The booming voice returned. Remarkable. The Terran team has completed the trial, demonstrating not only problem-solving skills, but unity and creativity. You may proceed to the next chamber. As they were led away, still buzzing with excitement from their success, they could hear murmurs from the other teams. Some sounded impressed, others concerned. They had made quite an entrance onto the Galactic stage. The next chamber was starkly different, a massive zero-gravity space filled with floating debris and obstacles. Synapsis's voice echoed around them. The trial of adaptation awaits. You must navigate this chaotic environment and reach the beacon at the far end. Be warned, the very nature of this space is unstable. Before they could even begin to strategize, the debris began to move, forming a complex, ever-changing maze. The team quickly realized that traditional methods of movement were useless here. "Okay, think," Hiroshi muttered. "We need to use the environment to our advantage." Travis Hawkins, the survival expert, grinned. "It's like a three-dimensional river. We need to ride the currents." Using hand signals developed during their training, the team spread out. They began to study the patterns in the debris movement, looking for paths and eddies in the chaotic flow. Chen Wei, the linguist, suddenly exclaimed, "It's a language." The movements, they're like a complex, three-dimensional syntax. With Chen interpreting the language of the debris, Quayne calculating trajectories, and Travis guiding their movements, the team began to make progress. They bounced from object to object, using the changing currents to propel themselves forward. Other teams struggled, some getting hopelessly entangled in the debris, others fighting against the flow and making little progress. The Earth team, moving in harmony with the chaos, steadily advanced. As they neared the beacon, a new challenge emerged. The beacon itself was shifting, facing in and out of different points in space. "Great," Jake grumbled, because it wasn't hard enough already. Yuki, her gamer's reflexes kicking in, took charge. "It's a pattern, like a boss's movement in a bullet hell game. We need to predict where it'll be and time our approach." With Yuki calling out coordinates and the rest of the team working in perfect synchronization, they made their final approach. In a daring move, they formed a human chain, with Jake at the lead. As the beacon phased into existence, Jake reached out and grasped it. The chaotic room froze, then dissolved around them. They found themselves back on solid ground, breathless but triumphant. Synapsis appeared, its form seeming to smile, but they couldn't be sure. "Impressive adaptation, Terrans. You've shown remarkable teamwork and ability to thrive in chaos. Rest now. The next trial will test you in ways you cannot foresee." As they were led back to their quarters, the team's spirits were high. They had faced 2 challenges and emerged victorious. But they knew this was just the beginning. The trials would only get harder from here. In their rest area, Elena addressed the team. "Great work, everyone. We've made a strong start, but let's not get overconfident. We need to stay sharp, keep adapting." Jake nodded in agreement. "We've shown them our teamwork and adaptability, but we've also shown our hand. The other teams will be watching us closely now." As they settled into rest and prepare for the next challenge, each member of the team reflected on their journeys so far. They were millions of light years from home, facing trials beyond imagination. Yet in this alien environment, they had found new strengths, not just in themselves, but in their unity as a team. The next trial loomed on the horizon, shrouded in mystery. But Earth's champions were ready. Whatever the galaxy had to throw at them, they would face it together, carrying the hopes of humanity with them into the cosmic unknown. The final test. As the Earth team rested and prepared for their next challenge, tensions on the Nexus were rising. Their unexpected success in the first 2 trials had not gone unnoticed. Alien competitors eyed them with a mixture of curiosity and wariness, while whispers of the unpredictable Terrans echoed through the station's corridors. Synapsis appeared in their quarters, its shifting form settling into a vaguely humanoid shape. Your presence is required in the Chamber of Truths. The next trial begins shortly. The team exchanged glances, steeling themselves for whatever lay ahead. As they walked through the nexus, they noticed increased security and an air of unease among the station's inhabitants. "Something's changed," Aisha murmured, her keen observational skills picking up on subtle shifts in the aliens' behavior. Jake nodded, his military instincts on high alert. "Stay sharp, everyone. I've got a feeling this next one isn't going to be as straightforward as the others." They entered the Chamber of Truths, a vast, circular room with walls that seemed to shimmer and shift, showing glimpses of distant worlds and strange phenomena. At the center stood a lone figure, Zaxel. "Greetings, Terrans." The alien's mental voice resonated with an undertone of, "Was that concern? You have performed admirably in the trials thus far, but now you face a challenge that will test not just your skills, but the very core of what you are." The room darkened, and suddenly they were surrounded by holographic displays showing Earth, but not as they had left it. Cities were in chaos, forests burned, oceans roiled with massive storms. "What you see before you," Zaxel continued, "is a potential future for your world, one of many possible outcomes should you fail this trial." Elena stepped forward, her voice steady despite the shock of the images. "What exactly is this trial, Zaxel?" The alien's multifaceted eyes seemed to bore into each of them. "The trial of sacrifice. You must choose one among you to remain here, in the Nexus, never to return to Earth. This individual's knowledge and essence will be added to the Galactic Codex, preserving a piece of humanity for eternity. The rest will be free to return home, with the full blessing and protection of the Galactic Confederation." The team stood in stunned silence. Yuki was the first to speak, her young voice trembling. "But that's not fair. We came here as a team." Zaxel's mental voice was tinged with sadness. "Fairness is a concept that varies greatly across the cosmos, young one. This trial tests your species' capacity for selflessness, for putting the needs of the many above the desires of the few. You have one planetary rotation to make your decision." With that, Zaxel vanished, leaving the team alone in the chamber, the horrifying images of Earth's potential future still swirling around them. "This is insane," Jake growled, pacing the room. "There has to be another way." Quain shook his head, his usually calm demeanor shaken. "But what if there isn't? Can we risk the fate of our entire planet?" As the team debated, argued, and grappled with the weight of their decision, Hiroshi sat quietly, his mind racing. After hours of discussion that seemed to go in circles, he finally spoke up. I think I have an idea," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. All eyes turned to him. "But it's risky, and it goes against everything we've been told about the trial." Elena leaned forward, hope glimmering in her eyes. "At this point, Hiroshi, we're open to anything. What are you thinking?" Hiroshi took a deep breath. "We've been approaching these trials from a human perspective, trying to solve them the way we think they should be solved. But what if the real test is to challenge the premise itself?" The team listened intently as Hiroshi outlined his plan. It was audacious, borderline insane, and completely, utterly human. As he finished explaining, a mix of hope and apprehension filled the room. "It's a huge gamble," Jake said, breaking the silence that followed Hiroshi's proposal. If we're wrong, we're no worse off than we are now," Elena countered. "But if we're right?" One by one, the team members nodded their agreement. They spent the remaining hours refining their strategy, each contributing their unique skills and perspectives to the plan. As their allotted time drew to a close, Zaxel reappeared in the chamber. "Have you reached a decision, Terrans?" Helena stepped forward, her posture confident despite the whirlwind of emotions inside her. "We have, Zaxel, but before we give you our answer, we have a counter-proposal." The alien's form shimmered with what might have been surprise. A counter-proposal. This is unprecedented. Hear us out, Elena continued. You say this trial is about sacrifice for the greater good. We propose a sacrifice of a different kind. She gestured to the team. Each of us is willing to offer a part of ourselves, our knowledge, our experiences, our very essence, to your galactic codex. Not just one, but all of us. Hiroshi stepped up beside her. We've developed a method to create a composite neural imprint. It would contain the sum of our knowledge, skills, and experiences, while allowing us all to return to Earth. The chamber fell silent, the air thick with tension. Zaxel's form flickered, and for a moment, they caught glimpses of other beings, presumably the judges or overseers of the trial. Finally, Zaxel spoke. In all the cycles of the Great Trial, no species has ever challenged the parameters of the test itself. There was a pause, and then, incredibly, a sense of admiration colored the alien's mental voice. You continue to surprise us, humans of Earth. The room erupted in a flurry of activity. Alien technicians appeared, working with Hiroshi and Elena to implement their hastily devised plan. The process was uncomfortable, even painful at times, as each team member submitted to the neural scanning. Hours passed, feeling like an eternity. Finally, a glowing orb materialized in the center of the chamber, pulsing with the combined essence of the Earth team. Zaxel approached the orb, its form seeming to vibrate with excitement. Remarkable. Truly remarkable. You have not only passed the trial of sacrifice, but you have transformed it. Your solution embodies the very essence of what we seek in potential members of the Galactic Confederation: innovation, cooperation, and the ability to find a third option when presented with an impossible choice. The images of Earth's catastrophic future faded away, replaced by visions of a thriving, advanced civilization taking its place among the stars. Return to your world, champions of Earth, Zaxel proclaimed. You have earned your place among us. The knowledge and protection of the Galactic Confederation are yours. As the team prepared for their journey home, elated but exhausted, they knew that this was only the beginning. They were returning to a world on the brink of a new era, an era of galactic citizenship, with all its wonders and challenges. Earth's first trial was over, but humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. Humanity's triumph. The journey back to Earth was a blur of emotions and debriefings. The team, still reeling from their experiences and the weight of their achievement, spent the time trying to process all that had happened and preparing for what was to come. As their ship approached Earth, they were greeted by a sight that took their breath away. The alien ships that had once caused panic were now surrounded by a fleet of hastily assembled human spacecraft, a symbolic honor guard welcoming home their champions. Look at that, Yuki breathed, her face pressed against the viewport. It's like the whole world is out there waiting for us. Jake smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. That's because they are, kid. We did it. We really did it. As they descended through the atmosphere, they could see crowds gathered in every major city, eyes turned skyward. Their landing site, the same New York location where they had first met Zaxel, was packed with world leaders, scientists, and thousands of cheering citizens. The moment the ship's doors opened, they were engulfed in a wave of celebration. Families rushed forward, tears streaming down faces as they embraced their long-absent loved ones. President Chen, her eyes glistening, stepped forward to shake each team member's hand. On behalf of all humanity, she said, her voice carrying across the suddenly hushed crowd, welcome home and thank you. Your courage, your ingenuity, your unwavering spirit in the face of unimaginable challenges have opened the doors to a future we could scarcely have dreamed.